Dig and a dig and dig, 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 and I dig my life away, oh, and I dig my life away.
In the early part of the mine's life, everything was done by hand, including the drilling of holes into either the coal or the rockwork. They would then put a charge into that hole, fire the charge off, and then the miners would return and pick up either the rock rubble or remove the coal that they were working for.
Down in the state coal mine, Braxton Lane from Parks Victoria is showing off the features of this once popular Wonthaggi tourist attraction, where the spirit of the old coal miners is alive and well.
The tradition of the unions are very strong in Wonthaggi. The workers were very active in the union movement. They were some of the most active unionists around. And the interesting thing about Wonthaggi's unions were, we talk about community unionism today, they actually did community unionism in Wonthaggi. They had their own bakery, they had their own chemist, and the chemist is still a community chemist today. They were involved in building the Union Theatre, and that's still around today. And we restored some of the old banners for the community. We got the funding for that, and they're now hanging fully preserved in the Union Theatre. It's all important to ensure that the historical places where the union movement has developed is restored and maintained, because people tend to forget about some of this history.
Yeah, the mine actually officially closed 40 years ago in 1968, and since then we actually, for the last 25 years, we've had a friends group which actually was formed in 1984, the Friends of the State Coal Mine, Wonthaggi. And so the community has always been really involved in the project. They've always been a part of the mine. They've always been active in the mine. Like for example, the Friends group, the last 25 years, the volunteers have put in something like 6,000 hours per year for the last 25 years to actually to volunteer in the mine. So they've run tours, they man the shop, they do gardening, or they volunteer as carpentering or plumbing or anything that needs done around the site, painting, maintenance. That's how the community has actually put in their time and their effort. The town has actually flourished because of the mine. Many of the generations are still here, the families are still here. I think it's definitely Wonthaggi is built on the camaraderie of the men working down in the mines. You know, they probably would have worked 12 hours a day or a night. They worked hard. It was like brotherhood. It was very much camaraderie, and that's what's really built the spirit of Wonthaggi and the spirit of the whole area.
Back then, the miners would operate in two teams. There'd be a morning team and then there'd be the afternoon team. And between those four gentlemen, they would have a piece rate per skip of black coal or stone, and they would then work together to, of course, fill as many skips as they could, and then they'd divide that cash up at the end of the week.
But it was all part of the mine. When there was strikes on in the mine, all the women got together, they cooked and managed and worked together so the men wouldn't have to go back to work, like the union strikes and that sort of thing. There was also a big accident where 20 miners were killed. And then, of course, the town rallied around to make sure that the widows and the families were looked after. It's very much a community town, and it still is. Like the sense of the community here in Wonthaggi is extremely powerful, and they're very, very passionate about what they own and what they, their heritage.
This is what they call a crib room. The miners would come in here and take their breaks and have their morning tea and their lunch. A lot of them were probably working 4 kilometres away from where they first came in, so breaks had to be taken underground.
After mine tours were suspended in 2004, following the identification of a range of occupational health and safety issues, a major upgrade of the mine's safety features has taken place, while still keeping the look and feel of the original mine.
In today's standards of mining, you would very rarely see timber shod mines, of which you can see around us now. So to be able to make sure that the visitors that are coming down here today and into the future are safe, we have used what we call cable bolts and rock bolts, which are hidden in amongst the timbers, which secure all the stonework together. Basically, this power board is all of our mains power coming from the surface, and of which from here it then filters out to our underground network of lighting, communications, water pumps, and so on. Running throughout our tunnel network of 1.5 kilometres of shafts, there is what we call a leaky feeder system, which enables us to talk on walkie-talkies underground and then to the surface. We also have installed what's called a VESDA smoke detector. This is continuously sampling air all throughout the mine, and should we have a problem with fire or smoke or something goes wrong with the oxygen levels down here, we can immediately see it above surface.
It was the community what got behind this project. And this, there was a lobby group, and we got involved in that as well. But the community lobbied the government, and the state government then gave a grant to keep this mine open. And of course, it's a major tourist attraction down here, and it brings a lot of tourists to the Wonthaggi area, which keeps a lot of the businesses and the community going. So it is important, all these areas, and the struggles with the Wonthaggi, and many of the conditions that we have today came out of the struggles of these miners.
Dig my life away, oh, and I dig my life away.